I was sitting in the doctor's waiting room when my phone rang. It was my daughter Angela, my only child. Her voice sounded wrong, almost mechanical, as if she were reading from a script. Mom, we're leaving for Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and Robert's truck. We needed the money. Bye. And she hung up. 45 years of raising her, sacrificing for her, loving her. And she dismissed me in 20 seconds. I sat there on the stiff green plastic chair, surrounded by coughing patients, yet for the first time since my husband's death, I didn't cry. Instead, a strange calm filled me, because something inside me finally clicked. I remembered an envelope. My name is Antonia Brooks. I'm 71 years old. I thought I knew my daughter, until that day. 6 months earlier, my husband Robert died of a heart attack while we were having breakfast. He kissed my forehead, wished me good morning, and within minutes he was gone. Angela had stepped in after the funeral, visiting me, helping with groceries, insisting I see a doctor. Mom, you need to take better care of yourself, she'd said with a smile I mistook for genuine love. Now I realized it was strategic convenience. The beach house she sold had been our sanctuary. Robert and I saved for years to buy it when Angela was 15. We spent summers there, birthdays, Christmases, messy barbecues, memories stacked like seashells. Angela brought boyfriends, later her husband Edward. I cooked, cleaned, created a home for everyone. That place was our family's heart. And Robert's truck? That old Ford was practically his second child. He polished it every Sunday, changed the oil himself, parked it in the same shady spot. When he died, the truck still smelled like him. Angela sold it like a dusty piece of junk. When the nurse called me in, I acted normal, but my mind stayed stuck on the envelope. 3 days before Robert died, he handed it to me. Antonia, put this in your dresser. If something happens to me, open it later when you're ready. The doctor said I was healthy for my age, just needed rest. I nodded, but I was already planning to rush home. As I rode the bus back, I watched the city slide by. Families rushing, people with their own secrets, their own tragedies. I realized mine was still unfolding. At home, I went straight to the bedroom and opened the drawer. The manila envelope was right where I'd left it. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside were property deeds, bank statements, investment papers, and a letter in Robert's familiar handwriting. My dear Antonia, if you're reading this, I'm no longer with you. I didn't want you to worry during my life, so I kept certain things private. Over the years, I invested our savings in several properties and businesses. We own more than the beach house. We have 6 additional properties, shares in 3 companies, and the apartment building where Angela and Edward live. Everything is placed under a company, and you are the sole heir. I hid this because I feared Angela might change if she knew we were wealthy. I wanted her to love us, not our money. My breath left my body. Angela thought I had nothing. But Robert, my sweet thoughtful Robert, had secured everything. The next morning, Angela called again, this time acting soft and sweet. Mom, we transferred your share of the house and truck sale. It's not much, but it'll help you survive for a few months while you find something smaller. My share. How generous. When do you leave for Europe? I asked calmly. Today. We'll be gone 6 months or more. But don't worry, Mom. We'll help you find a small apartment when we're back. I could almost hear her patting my head through the phone. When she hung up, I laughed. Really laughed. A sound that felt strange after months of grief. That afternoon, I watched from my window as Angela and Edward loaded suitcases into a cab. They laughed, kissed, and left without even looking up to see if I was watching. They weren't abandoning me. They were discarding me. I called Mr. Peterson, the attorney who'd handled Robert's affairs. When I showed him the documents, he nearly choked. Mrs. Brooks, Robert was a brilliant investor, and everything is legally yours. The sale of the beach house was fraudulent. The property wasn't Angela's to sell. We're not filing charges, I said firmly. Not yet. I want this handled quietly. Reverse the sale. Give me control of my properties. But don't tell anyone, not even Angela. He nodded. It'll take a few weeks, but it's all possible. While the neighborhood pitied the poor abandoned widow, I orchestrated everything silently. I let people assume I was broke. I let them whisper. I let them comfort me with soft voices. Aurora from next door said, Antonia, dear, how will you live? Robert didn't leave much. If she only knew. Mr. Peterson called with updates. Beach house reclaimed, property control restored. The truck was harder. Angela had tricked me into signing a power of attorney after Robert's death. Another deception. But Mr. Peterson worked on it. I visited the beach house once the sale was reversed. Memories washed over me, the laughter, the summers, the life we'd lived. A stranger approached me and said, "We were told the elderly lady was very sick. That's why the daughter sold it so cheaply." Sick. Helpless. That's how Angela justified her theft. When I returned home, I felt something shift. Something fierce. Something determined. Angela had taken everything she thought I had. But she had no idea how much I truly had. And she had no idea what kind of mother she was dealing with. Angela had been gone for 3 weeks when the first cracks appeared in her perfect runaway plan. Aurora, my ever-curious neighbor, came rushing to my home one afternoon, waving her hands like she'd discovered treasure. "Antonia, you won't believe this. Edward is in trouble with the bank. My brother-in-law works there. They say he took loans using the apartment as collateral. But the apartment isn't his." I wanted to smile, but I kept my expression steady. "That sounds complicated," I said softly. Complicated was an understatement. Angela had hitched her life to a sinking ship. And Angela didn't know? Aurora pressed. "Apparently not," I said. The irony was delicious. Angela had sold my life, my memories, to fund Edward's fantasy, and now everything was collapsing around her. That night, I sat on my porch with tea, looking up at the stars, imagining Robert smiling down at the unfolding justice. The wind felt warmer than usual. "Thank you, my love," I whispered. "Your timing was perfect." The next morning my phone rang. "Mr. Peterson." "Mrs. Brooks, your daughter just landed at the airport. Alone." Alone was exactly what she needed to be. Edward stayed in Europe. Rumors say they had a big fight. Of course they did. When the money dried up, Edward vanished like fog. "Send the notice," I instructed. "Are you certain?" "Completely." The eviction notice went straight to the apartment she no longer controlled. The next day Aurora was at my door again, her eyes big as saucers. "Antonia, your daughter came home last night," she announced. She looked awful, poor thing, crying, pale, only one suitcase. And she didn't even have the apartment key. I nodded gently. Life takes many turns. Aurora lowered her voice. "Edward abandoned her, didn't he?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. An hour later my phone rang. "Angela." Her voice sounded desperate, shaking. "Mom, I got this letter. It says I have 30 days to vacate the apartment. I don't understand. It must be a mistake, right?" "Oh dear," I said. "From whom?" "Something called Robert Investments Incorporated. Do you know this company?" Robert had used his own name. How poetic. "No, I don't think so," I said softly. "Mom, I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. Can I come see you?" There it was. The moment I had waited for. The fall. "Of course, honey. Come whenever you want." An hour later she knocked. When I opened the door, I almost didn't recognize her. She had lost weight. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She looked like a child who'd been lost for weeks. "Hi, Mom," she whispered. "Come in, sweetheart. Do you want some coffee?" She nodded quickly, like someone clinging to the last familiar thing left in life. We sat in the kitchen. Our old kitchen, our old table, and she broke. "Mom, I'm so sorry," she cried. "I know I hurt you. I know I treated you terribly. And now I have nowhere to go." I stayed quiet, letting her words spill. "Edward left me in Europe," she said. "He ran off with a waitress. There was never any business deal. He lied about everything." Her hands trembled. "And the debts, Mom, he used my name. He forged my signature. I'm responsible for over $100,000. I touched her hand gently. "Oh, honey," she cried harder. "I thought I was smart. I thought I was building a better life. But I ruined everything. And now I don't even have a home." She looked at me like a drowning person reaching for a life raft. "Mom, can I stay with you? Just for a little while." Inside, a part of me, the mother, ached to grab her and hold her tight. But the part of me that Robert trained, the part that had watched her sell my life without blinking, held firm. "Of course," I said. This home will always be yours. Angela burst into tears, loud, shaking tears, and hugged me. I hugged her back, but not with blind forgiveness. This time I hugged her as a woman with a plan. She moved into her old bedroom that evening, her childhood sanctuary. She carried only 2 suitcases and a cardboard box. Everything else was gone, sold, or seized. When she finished unpacking, she came to the kitchen. "Mom, I found this in Edward's things." She handed me a small manila envelope, Robert's handwriting on the front. My heart jumped. Angela said, "Maybe Dad left something else for you?" I opened it carefully. Inside was a key and a short note. "Antonia, if you're reading this second envelope, it means Angela is in trouble. This key opens safety deposit box 247 at the central bank. You will know what to do." Angela stared at me. "Mom, Dad had a safety deposit box? What's inside?" "I don't know," I lied. "We'll see tomorrow." That night, Angela cooked dinner. The food tasted like grief and regret, but she tried. She told me stories about Europe, how Edward had manipulated her, lied to her, isolated her. Every detail was another thread of the net she'd been caught in. She cried again. "Mom, I don't even hate him. I hate myself." The next morning we went to the bank. Box 247 was filled with jewels. Emeralds, pearls, heirlooms, pieces Robert had collected quietly. A letter inside listed their values. Angela gasped. "Mom, these must be worth a fortune." "Maybe," I said softly. She grabbed my arm. "We can sell them. You can get your house back. And I can pay off the debts. Mom, this could save us." I watched her face, hope mixed with desperation. "You'd use your father's memories to pay Edward's debts?" I asked. "What choice do I have?" She wasn't wrong. But she still didn't understand the real lesson. We took the jewels home. Angela laid them on the table like puzzle pieces of her broken life. That night, after she'd gone to bed exhausted from crying, I called Mr. Peterson. "Investigate Edward. Fully." "Yes, Mrs. Brooks. And find a way to separate Angela from the debts. It may take time. I'm patient." Because this wasn't about revenge, it was about rebuilding. And Angela needed to learn everything she had broken before she could understand what she could rebuild. Over the next several weeks, Angela's life transformed into something she had never imagined. Humbling, exhausting, and painfully educational. Every day she woke early to apply for jobs. Every afternoon she dealt with banks and creditors demanding payments she didn't have. And every night she returned home defeated, often crying quietly in her room so I wouldn't hear. But I heard everything. One evening she stood in the doorway of the kitchen, her work clothes wrinkled, dark circles under her eyes. "Mom, I got a job." "What kind?" "A night shift cleaning offices downtown." I felt a sting in my heart. Angela had never cleaned anything in her life without complaining. But now she was accepting whatever scraps the world offered. "Are you sure you can handle it?" I asked. "I have to. I can't be a burden to you forever." Burden, she was finally understanding the word. While Angela worked nights sweeping floors and emptying trash, I worked quietly with Mr. Peterson during the days. One afternoon he called with news. "Mrs. Brooks, Edward forged signatures on several loans. We found proof. Your daughter can be freed from almost all the debts." "Start the process," I said. "But don't tell Angela." "Not yet." "Understood." I needed Angela to crawl out of her darkness with her own hands before I showed her the light. A week later, Aurora sat with me on the porch sipping tea. "Antonia," she whispered. "Your daughter, she's changed." I nodded. "Life has been teaching her." "No," Aurora said. "Life may have started it, but you're finishing it." She was right. Angela came home late that night, exhausted from mopping floors. She dropped her bag and collapsed at the kitchen table. "Mom, I met a woman at work today. Mrs. Johnson. She's 60 and has been cleaning for 20 years. Her husband left her with 3 kids. She said people who end up in jobs like ours fall into 2 groups, those who never had opportunities, and those who ruined the opportunities they had." Angela swallowed. And I knew exactly which one I was. She looked at her hands, hands that were once manicured, now cracked and tired. "I messed everything up, Mom." "People make mistakes," I said gently. "No, Mom. I abandoned you when you needed me the most. I treated you badly. And when things fell apart, you still let me come home. I don't deserve you." She cried again, but this time her tears were not self-pity. They were understanding. After another week of hard work, Mr. Peterson called again. "Mrs. Brooks, we finished the case. Angela is legally free of Edward's debts. He will face charges. She won't owe a cent." "Good. Prepare a meeting. It's time to tell her the truth?" "Yes." That Friday, Angela and I went to Mr. Peterson's office. She was nervous. "Mom, I can't afford a lawyer. What if he charges consultation fees?" "Don't worry," I said. "Just listen." Mr. Peterson greeted us and handed Angela a thick folder. "These documents," he said, "prove that your husband falsified your signature on multiple loans. You are not responsible for those debts." Angela blinked rapidly. "How? Who paid for all this?" Mr. Peterson looked at me. I nodded. It was time. "Angela," I said softly, "your father left more behind than you knew." Mr. Peterson placed another folder on the desk. Inside were the deeds, the bank statements, the investments, everything Robert had built for decades. Angela stared at the papers, speechless. "Mom, this says you own the apartment building I lived in." "Yes." "And 6 other properties?" "Yes." "And bank accounts and shares and—" "Yes, Angela." She shook her head in disbelief, tears welling in her eyes. "You knew all this when I called you from Europe? When I begged you for help? When I told you I sold the beach house?" "Yes." "And you let me suffer? You needed to understand what you had thrown away," I said gently but firmly. "You needed to learn what matters." Angela broke. "Mom, I hurt you. I betrayed you. And you still saved me." "Yes. But not in the way you expected. I couldn't hand you money and pretend nothing happened. You had to feel the weight of your choices before you could carry the responsibility of your future." Angela cried silently for a long time. Then she wiped her tears. "Mom, thank you. I don't know if I've earned forgiveness yet, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to." We left the office holding hands. For the first time in years, Angela didn't walk ahead of me, she walked beside me. Angela kept her cleaning job for weeks, even after learning she no longer needed it. "It reminds me who I used to be," she said, "and who I never want to be again." She eventually enrolled in a social work program at the local college. "I want to help women who end up where I was," she said. "Women who have no one." She paid her tuition with money she saved from her job. "Angela," I said gently, "you don't have to." "I do, Mom. I need to build my life with my own hands this time." And she did. One afternoon she came home smiling. "Mom, I helped a coworker with daycare fees today. She was struggling like I was. It felt good." I saw something new in her eyes, purpose. Weeks later, we visited the beach house together for the first time since the ordeal. Angela stood at the door trembling. "Mom, I can't believe I sold this place." "It's forgiven," I said. "Can we do something with it? Something meaningful? What do you have in mind?" Angela looked at the waves. "What if we turn it into a safe shelter for women who need a fresh start?" My heart swelled. Robert would have loved that. "Let's do it," I said. 6 months later, Angela graduated at the top of her class. I created a foundation in Robert's name. The beach house became home to women starting over. Angela became someone I could admire, not because she was perfect, but because she learned. One evening, she and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. "Mom," Angela said softly, "I learned the biggest thing of all." "What's that?" "That love isn't giving people what they want. It's giving them what they need to grow." I smiled. "Your father would be proud of you." "I hope so," she whispered. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to tell me how you liked it in the comments and where you're watching from. Your support means so much to me. Thank you for being here, and don't forget to subscribe for more life stories.